My sister-in-law secretly holds a grudge against me. It's making me paranoid.
What was that? Oh, it was nothing.
Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a long one, but I'll try to be as concise as possible. So here's the deal. I, 33 female, don't know if I am being completely paranoid or if there's something really fishy about the way my sister-in-law, 38 female, has been acting lately. By the way, this comes from Low Needle Worker at 620, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, for context, both my brother, 45 male, and I moved back to our dad's hometown, him almost a decade ago, and me in the last year. About 5 years ago, he started dating this local girl, and they are practically married nowadays. Overall, sister-in-law is a great girl, and we've been so lucky that she chose to be part of our family. We are very good and close friends. But here comes the small town nonsense. There is an immense social gap between her and him. To give some context, her mom used to work temporarily as a maid for people from my family, which in my culture also means extended family. Think grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. She and her family struggled so much I can't even begin to describe or understand, really. She made well for herself, worked really hard, and is a successful professional. She has bought her own beautiful house and continues to improve herself daily. Let's freaking go. Seriously, there are a few people in this world whom I admire so much. But needless to say, she carries a lot of trauma. She is very anxious all the time. It is sometimes quite overwhelming. It is also very clear from the beginning that she had a constant need to affirm she was not dating my brother out of convenience. And for our part, we always tread very carefully not to make her feel in any way misplaced among us. So with all that, I can get to what is going on and why I need some advice on whether, how do I spell this, am I being paranoid and need to get a grip or not. Since dad passed away, I have been taking care of my mom, 76 female. Her mind has been taking a turn for the worse, and she sometimes forgets things she says or does very quickly. A few months ago, this happened. We had a booth at an expedition for a local business. The event was already over for the night, but being the party people we are at some point, there were about 10 people at our booth, most fellow exhibitors. Drinking, chatting, playing the guitar, and singing. We were all tired, but we couldn't sleepily close the booth and send people home. That would have been incredibly rude. So we stayed on. My brother left early, and my mom, sister-in-law, and I stayed to deal with our guests. At some point, my quite wasted mom got fed up with people playing and singing songs she hated and started discreetly asking me to leave multiple times. I told my sister-in-law, and we decided it was best to call my brother back so I could take my mom home. Right before she arrived, someone took the guitar and started playing songs my mom enjoyed. So obviously, she stopped asking to leave. Seeing that, sister-in-law got angry with me and immediately assumed I was lying and using my mom as an excuse to go home. We were at the expedition for about 12 hours straight at this point. We were all a bit wasted also. We were a few meters away from the party, and I was trying very hard to defend myself, but she got into overwhelming mode and simply wouldn't let me. I got more and more flustered, and when she finally called me a spoiled brat who was using her mom to get what I wanted, I snapped and screamed at her. My mistake, obviously.
I mean, 50-50. 50-50. Let me actually...
Were you being pushed to your...
Heads or tails, Riley?
Heads.
Oh, yeah, you know what? You were actually. That is your bad. Sorry, the coin has spoken.
Everyone was obviously to the argument until that point. At this moment, they all stared at me like I had grown a second head. Sister-in-law started screaming at me that I had no right to scream at her. My brother arrived, saw what was going on, and excused himself, not wanting to be caught up in the mess. So I did the only sensible thing, hid in the car and cried my eyes out until about an hour later when my mom was escorted to the car and we went home. The next day, I reached out to sister-in-law to apologize and explain the misunderstanding. But before I could, she said she was hurt with me and needed some time to process it all. She repeated, now sober, that I was using my mom, so I simply left without giving or receiving an apology. It stuck with me, though I promised myself I wouldn't let myself fall into that situation again. Eventually, things got back to normal. But when another almost incident happened, nothing so dramatic, but while discussing the logistics of a family trip we are in, I mentioned she could have negotiated with her boss for a day off so she didn't need to leave work a half day and come back to the event. Earlier that week, her boss warehouse had flooded. She and some colleagues left their homes in the early hours to help save the stored items. As a thank you, the boss gave each of them a small sum of money. She mentioned it was nice to have a little extra in her purse, but she didn't necessarily need it. And I commented that she could have negotiated the half day instead of taking the cash. That led to another monologue of her accusing me of being unprofessional and that she would never let her employer hang like that, as if I said she should call him on the spot, telling him she wouldn't show up the next day, which is not what I said, of course. That led to an uncle, one of the good ones, briefly lecturing me on work ethics. I think you missed the part there.
Yeah.
Also, sister-in-law does not respect you. She doesn't respect you.
Move yourself from
I
these
think she's
people.
snapping at you because she thinks you're a spoiled brat and you don't know anything about work.
I'm removing myself.
Let her do her own thing and give her... There he goes. And he's gone, guys. Finally, last week, things got a bit more aggressive. Again, we are all quite wasted already. Yes, drinking culture here is a thing. We had spent the day having beers by a river. Sister-in-law, brother, and I, and mom's sister-in-law friend. Also, sorry, I think they're in Ireland. They gotta be Irish.
The meters is definitely, there's a meter. Why'd they say meters?
Expedition, meters. They're selling potatoes. Let's be real here,
Is it the Potato Expo?
guys. In Ireland? Oh, yeah, dude. Come on. Okay. We had spent the day having beers by a river, sister-in-law, brother, mom, I, sister-in-law's friend. When it came time to go home, night already, we were gathering our stuff in a bag. I was cleaning the dishes, and sister-in-law told me she was gathering some things that were left on the table. I had left my phone / glasses / speaker on the table. So when I saw the speaker and glasses in the bag, I assumed she had taken them and put them in there. I grabbed the bag, put it in the trunk of the car, and we all entered. That's when I noticed I didn't have my phone. I came back to the side of the bar by the river, but it wasn't there, so I asked my brother to open the trunk because sister-in-law must have put it in the bag with the rest of my stuff. My mistake again. Brother left the car to help me with the lantern, and she left as well, already in an overwhelming mood, saying she didn't take anything of mine. I tried to explain that's not what I meant, while trying to find my phone as fast as possible so we could just go. But things escalated, of course. I didn't scream this time, I believe, but I did tell her to get in the car. By the time I managed to find my phone, sister-in-law had already left again for the bar, screaming at the top of her lungs that she wasn't going anywhere with me in the car. That was a good 40-minute drive from home. Brother was also in the bar, trying his best to distance himself from the drama. I took a deep breath and went to sister-in-law, trying to reason with her, and she screamed at me the following: "Go F yourself 4 times. You spoiled rich girl. You think you can order everyone around. I did not take your phone." And she proceeded to take a phone and throw it on the table with force. It didn't break, thankfully. She has a lot of going on, and I think she's putting a lot of that blame on OP. And low-key, I'm going to need to be there. I'm going to need to see what the vibe is, what the tone of voice is.
Yes.
Because I could see how this is being mistreated.
Yeah.
But everyone...
There's a lot of nuance to how this would play out, like in a setting where we're present.
She was crying a lot and was very distraught. My mom had to physically restrain her and talk to her. But we will never physically restrain you from checking out our podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Just search up OK Storytime on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And we're there with stories just like this that aren't as super crazy, but they are crazy.
I feel like a lot of times, though, people just like construe like people being emotional as people being bratty because like their emotions are inconvenient in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not necessarily, like, not everybody has their emotions mastered.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Some people have mastered themselves and have control over that, but a lot of people don't. So the goal should be to be able to move through your emotions without them taking control over you.
Exactly.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. So she apologized, saying this wouldn't happen again and that she would try to listen to in the future. But I'm wary because it seems something is going on and that she's got some serious beef with me. Am I being paranoid, or is this just to be expected given the whole context of things? I have been trying to see other situations in which I could have offended her to be on the receiving end of those opinions and outbursts, but I can't. Any advice? I'm in need because I love her and my brother very much and don't want us to be estranged.